What if building wealth didn't mean that you had to sacrifice your health, your values, or time with your family? Welcome to the Wealth and Wellness Report, where we bridge the gap between business, real estate, personal well-being, and legacy building. I'm Diego J. Torello, your real estate advisor, builder, and advocate for impact-driven living. This show is for investors, entrepreneurs, and creators who want to grow wisely, live intentionally, and build something that lasts. In each episode, we bring real-world strategies, deep conversations, and creative insights to help you grow your wealth without having to lose yourself in the process. Subscribe now, and let's design the future together. One decision, one investment, and one episode at a time. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Wealth and Wellness Report. I'm your host, Diego. We're going to be talking a lot about entrepreneurship and business. We're going to be talking a lot about personal growth, real estate, financial independence, building legacies for our families and for ourselves. This is our first episode. Really excited to be here. Really excited to talk about the vision, sustainability, and the impact that I want to bring to the world. And along my career, I've met so many amazing and wonderful people, like this wonderful gentleman in front of me that I'll interview, and we'll be able to tell a story. We'll be able to come to you with data amongst all of the topics that we are going to talk about, mostly around real estate, business, entrepreneurship, personal development, legacy building, fitness, wellness, health, all of those really, really important topics that I absolutely love and want to talk about. So without any further ado, let me introduce you to our guest, Kyle Ciullo. Kyle Ciullo is a neighbor of mine who lives in my home city of San Mateo. He reached out to one of my businesses, Circlefoot, to help with some home improvement projects. Really excited that you're here, Kyle. I can't wait to hear about your story and talk about all these wonderful things that the Wealth and Wellness Report is all about. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and, your genesis, and maybe we can go down memory lane on your project and talk about a few other items that I have on my list.
Well, thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
To answer your question, I'm still trying to figure out who I am and like what this is all about.
Are we all?
And I explored a lot of those questions a few years ago, which is, a huge, I guess, catalyst for reaching out to you and Circlefoot and the home improvement projects. So I guess a quick background before that is, grew up here in the San Francisco Bay Area. Very lucky to have just been placed here in the world. Pretty normal bringing up, I would say. Middle-class family. Yeah, I've always skateboarded, cracked jokes. Apparently I was the funny guy in school. Yeah, and I'd say I'd just get along with everyone, and really, I hung out with a few, like kind of the skate crew, but I kind of bounced around, different environments, and then I moved, also right beginning of high school, so kind of had to learn, how to meet new people and get in a new environment, create a new life almost in high school.
And you were in San Mateo, or were you?
Started in Fremont.
Started in Fremont. Okay, cool. So then, like the East Bay, South Bay area.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Which was great. Very diverse community. I had friends all different walks of life. So that really kind of shaped my human experience. But then I moved to Pleasanton, which is a very affluent kind of group of people, which was different for me. I started working since I was 14, 15 years old. Started actually at Safeway bagging, but then wanted me to join a union. I didn't know what that was as a kid, so bailed on that. Yeah. And then got a serving job at a Mimi's Cafe, and actually did that throughout high school and then community college, which funded all my kind of kid activities. I felt very rich as a kid. I got to buy a car, bought a motorcycle. I got to eat and have fun.
Yeah. So that you were right out of high school, or was that before? That was before college, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was kind of at the tail end of high school.
Cool.
And then into community college, and then I would even come back in college to work and just make a little more money on the side.
Yeah.
So there, I actually learned a lot about human psychology and just people in general. Just meeting so many different people in very quick, rapid, meetings.
Yeah.
What people are like, and just being able to foresee what these people need and where they're going and who they are. Celebrities would come through, and
cool.
Bums would come through, and
everybody,
everyone would come through.
Yeah, yeah.
I have so many just unique stories that. Again, shaped who I was.
I'm the same way. I worked at a retail serving, and then even in a grocery as well. That is such a great training ground for people, building people skills, just talking to people and learning how to serve. And so I'm wondering, through that process, was that where some of your entrepreneurial tendencies began to emerge, or as you got into college? Did you have a direction at that point in your life?
I would say because I'm as I'm learning more about myself, more introverted. I like to learn and think and read and kind of be comfortable. So that really kind of put me took me out of my shell.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, put me in awkward positions as especially as a young kid. Yeah, I think. Entrepreneurially, it helped me just read people, understand people, come from a place of empathy, and how to serve.
Mm-hmm.
Be in service to the person. So yeah, I would say that shaped me in that way a lot. And then I remember a very specific period there where, even the servers, all walks of life, all age groups. And I remember just feeling that this experience was not my forever job. I wasn't going to be here my whole life. This was more of a stepping stone.
You felt like there was more.
There was something there. Yeah. And that's, looking back, it was my intuition. It was this something that I felt and was speaking to me. I couldn't really explain it at the time, but I just remember this moment where I was kind of outside of my body, and it was hey man, enjoy this. There's something else.
More.
There's more to this.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a great experience that I'd recommend for everyone.
I think anybody who has a heartbeat and a brain has this calling at some point in their life where they're there's more to this. There's got to be more to this. And whether or not those individuals actually take the action to explore and discover that more, I think everybody's got it. So you had this kind of turn. There's this more experience, this aha or epiphany, and then what took you into. I think you mentioned to me that you went into biomedical sciences and went to university. That's kind of a big jump from, packing bags at Safeway, and then you're designing some. What were you doing? Love to learn more about that, because biomedical sciences is such a it's kind of a niche subject matter.
Yep.
Yeah,
looking back, I really feel like this was some sort of divine order, something that I didn't really control. But my dad was an engineer, grew up in the Silicon Valley. He was the first one to go to college and get a kind of industry job out of his family. So I always kind of had that, very rational engineering brain from him. So I'm not sure how I came to the conclusion, but I think I wanted to be a doctor, probably because of the money. It seemed like, they made a lot of money. And that was really the short and simple. And I liked helping people. I guess I gravitated to that health and wellness. And I remember like a bone doctor. I don't know why, because I hurt myself in soccer so many times. Never broke a bone, but hurt myself a lot skateboarding as well. I went through kind of the community college with that route in mind, going into some sort of med school program. Yeah. And then it was, long story short, I got accepted into UCSD, their bioengineering program, like an undeclared major, but I just had to maintain like a 3.0 GPA in order to get put in this program. It was a pre-med track for bioengineering. And that, again, put me out of my comfort zone, because I'm not the greatest student. Like, I like to focus and work hard and be really consistent. So I think that got me through where I am today. I wouldn't say I'm the smartest person in the world, but I do know how to focus and things that I like. Yeah, again, so many stories there.
Sure. So you went from bioengineering, and then what connected us was, I think, a level of camaraderie around entrepreneurship, owning businesses and running businesses. You had a company that you partnered with, you founded, that was a tech company here in the Silicon Valley, or was it? Could you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I guess from bioengineering, I got into the enterprise world, working for a big, I guess you'd say pharmaceutical company, but they had a medical device division. So for 5 years, I worked doing manufacturing for a novel medical device. So it was like a startup, and then the big company bought the startup, so I got to be in the middle of a transition from startup to enterprise. And then I got the opportunity there to not only do manufacturing engineering, quality engineering, equipment engineering, learn the Lean Six Sigmas, the Kaizen, that just the efficiencies of efficiencies, the sciences of it. I got to learn that. And then I got an opportunity to actually process map the entire business from the supply chain all the way to the end customer, and then digitize it. So they had a homegrown system that they used in their other corporate offices. So I worked with their subject matter expert to configure the software to digitize that whole process. So all of the engineers, the production staff would use this system to input the builds and track and all that stuff.
Operational, very, very operations centric.
Very.
Yeah. Very so logistics and all that stuff.
Operational excellence, which then...
Amazing. Which is hard to do. I'm sure you're spinning a million different plates and hair's on fire probably quite a bit. How do I, find the critical path today when there's probably 4 different ways to Sunday you can go?
Yep.
I think that is such an amazing skill to have in business, understanding and knowing where to go, when to go, how to spend your time, how to be as efficient as possible. So, for me, it's if you don't take the time and get into the experience side of it, you can read about this all day long. You can go to Cornell University. You can learn all of these great project management protocols and frameworks. But then unless you're in the trenches and you're actually out there running and gunning with your mates in the ship, you're probably not going to be as proficient, as time goes on. But for you, it sounded like you went in, you dove in head first. Then from that point, when did you start Raxar?
It was during that time I worked myself into kind of a management position, engineering management position looking over their asset management program. So all of the tools and devices to actually make the medical device. And I used to get audited a lot by the FDA in these regulations because it was, like people would get hurt and would die associated with this. So I found myself in a situation where I had this technology system, this SAP. It was supposed to be the best enterprise software. And I needed the data to show these auditors that everything was safe. We did our job. Everything was calibrated. But it didn't really help. Fundamentally, the data in there was just not great. So the data in, data out concept, I just didn't have the right tools to make my job, to do my job well.
Yeah.
And that was really frustrating. So then...
You're like, screw it, I'm jumping ship and starting my own deal, or?
Well, what was funny is my buddy, friend, business partner, and roommate in college, he just created a software kind of based on his father's previous company, who was kind of the first software to design roads. Who ended up selling to Autodesk, which is one of the largest BIM and civil, horizontal, vertical construction softwares out there. So it's kind of a spin-off from that technology, and he created like a mobile inspection app. And so he was showing me that, and I'm like, man,
this is perfect.
This is exactly what we need for here. Like how the guys can just go in there with a mobile app. They can enter great standardized information about the process, and then it spits out like an automated report. Like, this is great.
Exactly what you need.
Pitch this.
Yeah.
So then, I learn about all the bureaucracy and just the process. And
got hit with a lot of red tape.
A lot of red tape and the egos involved. And at that time, that soul was talking to me again. It's like, it's time. It's time to do something else. So that's where I was like, dude, like, yeah, let's do this together. Like, I want to, jump ship, like you said, and start a company.
That's amazing, because that I know what that feels like. I've also been in different environments, employer-employee relationships, where I'm the employee and like the soul's calling. There's something more. I need to jump into something. And I know that moment right before you make the decision that you're going all in is like nerve wracking. Like, oh my God, there's fear that comes in. Oh my God, am I going to be successful? Oh my God, like, this is my livelihood. When you decided to fully put the chips in the middle, like, could you tell me a little bit about that mindset shift? What inside of you was like the catalyst? Like, okay, you made the decision. Was it just like a light switch? You just went on and just turned it on? Or was there a lot of like introspection? Like, I'm sure the audience would love to hear, considering most of these people who are watching are entrepreneurs, and they're either wanting to start a business, but they might not be able to because of mindset. That I think that little nugget in the mind as you embark on the journey, I'd love for you to maybe touch up a little bit on that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's a great question. So another thing I learned about myself, I'm not sure where it was through, maybe some like astronomical, blueprint or personality test, but apparently I make decisions easily. And I think that's because of the word you use. I do a lot of introspection. So this had been bubbling for, a couple years. Like this feeling, I started to get in this feeling. And then, for about a year or two, just kind of observing my current environment and things going on and looking at different options. And like really planning this out. Like, that's what I like to do. Just be very methodical,
strategic,
design it, strategic. Yeah. And then when it becomes that time,
pull the trigger.
It's
easy.
My mind is already made up.
Yeah.
There's no questioning in it. I'm not a person to make a very quick decision or without a lot of information. I can, which, that's another side. But there was a moment in the corporate environment where every Friday I used to go around to the different stakeholders that I needed something from. Get a sign off, ask a question, whatever it was, because that's when people were in the best mood. It was kind of disheartening to see, but this is part of the transformation is, everyone would be like, thank God it's Friday. And they were just looking forward to the weekend. They would have been so burnt out and they were looking forward to the weekend. So that's when I would step in, get those things done. But that realization is like, this is not for me, because I do not want to do this. Yeah. This is not how I don't want to be, working, coming here, burning myself out Friday, looking for the weekend. And it just doesn't feel right to me. So those were like examples of things that I observed that really allowed to make my decision easy.
That sounds like doing it the smart way, instead of doing it the opposite, where you're jumping out of the airplane and building the parachute on your way down. Like you took the time to really think things through, which I think is really, 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 really important. Like planning is so instrumental in the success. If you're not planning and doing your due diligence prior, I mean, you could like hold yourself back and or get into some uncharted waters with some very dangerous sharks in those waters. Cool. Well, that sounds like a lot. I mean, that sounds a lot like me too. I was also in a situation where I had the opportunity to take the time to really think things through, to really not only dream and develop a vision, but to methodically, as you said, line the ducks up in a row, make sure that everything was finely tuned. And so that finally, when it took to just light the switch, it was such an easy thing to do. So I'm a massive proponent of putting together a blueprint and then following that blueprint. Cool. So Raxar, you're moving on from the employer and you've started a company with your friend. That business took off, right? Like you had some success there. How about, because you exited that company. Could you talk a little bit about the kind of the middle to the back end of what happened with Raxar, considering, this was a big leap from your employer to starting a business, like kind of fast forward for us a little bit.
Yeah. So Raxar started as a iOS native mobile application, basically like checklist. It was a no code tool where as a business analyst, kind of engineer, I could create solutions on the fly through drag and drop software. So I can essentially create a software customized for the business. Yeah, it started as a mobile inspection app at Midway International Airport. So these large enterprises, venues, construction companies, homeowners associations, really that built environment has a wide variety of teams managing it, personnel, across hundreds, thousands of different assets that cost millions, billions of dollars. So these organizations need to track their investments and the performance of their investments to get the best return on investment. So what started as a mobile inspection app grew into a full-on mobile operations management system. So field teams could approach an asset, a piece of equipment, let's say, or an area of space of an environment, built environment, record everything that's wrong or good with it in a standardized format, checklist, take photos, leave voice notes, do ratings, do condition assessments, inspections, raise work orders, create tasks, you name it, whatever the business process needed, they could do that all from a mobile phone, and then that would automatically generate a report that could be sent to the leadership team, and then there were real-time dashboards that would update it as well. So everything was like real-time. Through that, I got the opportunity to learn about bridge maintenance and road maintenance and airport management and construction management. I really, I was like, as a learner, like I got to, it was such a cool opportunity to like understand the different experts and what they're doing, and then learn from them, like learn the process and learn the intricacies around things, because we needed to go in, help them optimize their process first, help them work better and smarter, and then from there put the technology on top of that.
And how long was that timeline for Raxar from start to the time that you decided to exit? Tell us about the exit.
Yeah, we did that about I think about 7 or 8 years. Yeah, I mean we were.
So you went beyond startup mode.
Yeah.
Wow.
Our first couple clients were government, so we had to learn how the RFP process and like go to bidding and like learn that whole rigmarole. And we still have the same contracts today, same customers, because it's such a sticky product, and we're managing like high value assets, and it was a very competitive space as well.
I'm sure.
And as a small team, that was really difficult. So we overturned every single stone that I think you can try, to sales, to marketing, to operations, to product development, branding. Like we just studied it and studied it and studied it and tried things and failed and like just kept. It was very difficult, but we learned so much from it. And it wasn't until COVID where, basically all money kind of stopped. There was no investments. So we got
scary time.
Yeah, we got the opportunity to take a step back and really look at what we were doing. So that's when we did a deep dive into just marketing fundamentals. So we worked with a couple experts, interviewed hundreds of marketing agencies, sales, business builders, to like help us, like, how are we going to do this? So through that process, we created an entire report that mapped out all the competition, how they were going to market, who their customers, what technology they were using, what they were spending on ads. So we really had a full picture of like where we are at, and then where the bigger environment is at. And when we looked at it, we're like, this isn't going to work. We need millions of dollars to even compete. We need, we need to focus on like onboarding, and we need to build a few things first. And at the time we were like undercapitalized. We were a small team. Our equity position just kept diminishing. So we both decided that we wanted out. Just the juice wasn't worth the squeeze anymore. And we were getting tired and
burnt out.
It wasn't. We love the community of customers that we got to work with, like on the ground. We had to work with the leaders, but when building the solution, we went on the ground floor and we worked with the maintenance guys, the electricians, the tradesmen, the down and dirty. That group of people we really enjoyed working with. Those were like our kind of people, the firefighters.
Yeah.
Like, you know, that's what we loved, but we didn't so much love the politics and the leaders,
the bureaucracy,
and the enterprise egos. We got yelled at, screamed at too many times.
So was that the last straw that broke the camel's back that made you consider a exit, or was there already an exit kind of in the works prior to COVID? Because I think COVID was a big transition for everybody. Mm-hmm. You know, unbeknownst to us, there was this big fork in the road. Was there something going on before COVID, or did you guys post COVID say, okay, like, let's try some marketing, let's try and make this work? It didn't work, and then exit?
No, I think, you know, we were just caught up in the business, just trying to figure it out up until COVID. And then COVID, just freed us up.
Yeah.
Allowed us to step back and really look at, you know, do some more due diligence, learn a little more, get outside of it.
Interesting. Yeah. So you decide to move on with Raxar. It doesn't sound like you closed the business. You just step
hired
away,
a new executive team,
do the transition. And then from there you took some time off. Biotic is who I'm accustomed to knowing when I think of Kyle. I don't think of Raxar when I think of Kyle. And Biotic is a very different business than Raxar. Something happened inside of you. Something morphed and evolved and drew you into this new environment of biology and nature and regeneration and agriculture. These are two worlds that I'm beginning to see merge more and more, particularly after COVID, where technology and nature-based enterprises they're coming together. Mm-hmm. What was your story there? How did they come together for you, and what took you out of the rigum in the role, like you had mentioned, and into, you know, a more nature-based enterprise that to me seems like is like your happy place, like your center of peace?
Yep. Oh man. Yeah. Thank you for that question. Learning how to summarize all this. So this is a good forum to do that.
That's why we're here.
But it was during that year, 2 years after leaving Raxar. I don't really quite know how to unfold it. I just knew that I needed to take some space, and I needed to remove as many distractions as possible to kind of get my head clear. Mm-hmm. And at the time, I had 2 little small kids, a nice little family, home that I got to enjoy. I also was in constant low-grade pain from earlier motorcycle accidents. And then, you know, I did a lot of weightlifting as well. So I've changed my body a lot as well. So I think being burnt out professionally and then hurting physically, and then I also had a lot of questions in my mind, a lot of big questions. Who am I? What am I doing here? Like, why am I doing all this work? And then just, I don't know, maybe I'm a nerd, but trying to understand the nature of the universe. Like what is this experience? And how crazy is this? And I heard I don't know who it was, but if you wanted to make $1 billion, then you need to solve $1 billion problem. It's not that I didn't want to, not that I don't want to make $1 billion. I think who doesn't, but it was more like I just like solving problems, and throughout my life, the problems became bigger and bigger and bigger. So I'm like, okay, let me just think of a huge problem and try and solve that. So between all that, with my health, my family, and then these like burning questions, again, my soul like yelling at me, essentially. I took a year or two where I focused first on my physical health, which led me into breath work, which then led me into meditation, which then led me into reading the sciences around energy, the universe, spirituality, biology, esoteric textbooks, ancient textbooks, religious comparative studies. I probably read over 100 books, both read and listened throughout that year. I was just consuming information. So through that, I realized that everything, like any kind of fears, anxiety that I had, I was able to get rid of, because like everything that I wanted was right in front of my face. I had a home, I had kids, I had a wife.
All the things.
Like I had a great career. I feel so confident that I can do anything. But my health wasn't great. So it's like, man, I need to be healthy here. And as an entrepreneur, it's it's a performance sport. I was always in sports.
Sure.
So my buddy and I, we always talked about just perform, like human performance. Like, how can I perform and be, active every day?
Yeah.
And keep up with this. So, so I guess through all that, that was the problem, is that I wasn't even feeling healthy and enabled and empowered. And I feel like I was given all of the tools and environment to do so. Like, I'm here in the San Francisco Bay Area where there's unlimited wealth and wellness, yet here, me, being so privileged, and basically, I'm still not feeling well. So that is a huge problem. Why is that?
What were some steps that you took to get to health and wellness in that exploration and discovery? Like, you had the aha moment, you were able to pinpoint the problem, and then you just so eloquently described the solution. You had to get healthy. You had to look at it from a mind-body perspective. The next phase, I think, is a really tough phase for people to really wrap their heads around, and it's the phase of consistent action, and day in and day out, working every day to get 1% better. That journey to me sounds like that's where you finally got to the honey hole of biotech. However, the work that biotech does, and I'd love for you to talk more about that, is so different than the stuff at Raxar. When it comes to the nuts and bolts of the business, like you're working with agriculture, you're working with other companies that are actively promoting health and wellness within the built environment, and so that transition is a really beautiful transition. As you were talking, I was just immediately thinking of this caterpillar burrowing down into the soil and then coming back up, and then metamorphosis. Yep. You're now a butterfly, and now you're flying over the garden. You know what I mean? That is a really beautiful story, but I think there's more to that story that I'd love to know. Kyle, is when you moved on from that aha moment, I need to be healthy again. How did that road take you to starting an enterprise, or an enterprise that was rooted in nature, and focusing on health and planetary well-being? There seems to be commonalities there, but I think the journey that can you talk about the meat and potatoes of it? How did you start that business? What sort of things did you do? What does it take to start a business, let alone a nature-based enterprise?
Yeah, I guess as a kind of engineer, I would say. Like I started from first principles thinking, which is kind of like a nature-based first principles way of looking at things, deconstructing things into its most fundamental components. And so that's really where it started, and that's where my journey was. Like you said, the kind of transformation. And I'm a Pisces, so someone told me that, like, as a fish, like, I'm able to dive deep, and that seems very true, because I really do like that. I like to get deep into things. So one of the most profound kind of things that I found, I was like legitimately trying to figure out how can you create something from nothing? Like, if this God exists, like, how did God create something from nothing? Mm-hmm. So going through that, like, what came from before the Big Bang, and, like, how does this happen? Mm-hmm. This is really where a business idea came from. And through that exploration, I discovered and experienced firsthand that, there's something that I can't explain. Yeah, there's this place that is inside everyone, that is, it's like a void. It's quiet. It's relaxing. It's loving. And when I was able to remove all my distractions, I was able to experience this place, which I would refer to it as God, or, like, quantum physicists say that it's like a 0-point energy. Ancient Egyptians call it the netter. This kind of background energy matrix. It's full of all the energy potential in the universe, and that each human is a part of that, is tapping into that. So we're like a black hole that is tapped into this infinite potential, and that there is this glue that connects everything and everyone. Like, I know this for a fact now. It's like not a belief. It's a truth, and that was extremely empowering for me, and for everyone. That, like, what we do has an effect on everything else, and that everything else has an effect on us. So your movement into the biotic ship, that's really where I want to, where sure.
I, like, personally, I'd love to know more about, okay, you went from this center point energy, this space of knowing. You weren't knowing, you didn't know, and now you're like, I'm one, and I know. Biotic ship. Tell us about how the name came about. Like, cool. Where did the name come from? What did you have to do to start it? And who are some of the people that you work with at Biotic?
Okay. Found God. And then from there, it was like, how can I help other people do this too? How can I help others find their potential and their blueprint, and what they can provide the whole to the best of their ability, and be happy and healthy, and, like, just have unlimited energy?
Yeah.
How can one do that? How can I do that? How can I enable that? So I discovered these concepts of regenerative design, nature-based solutions, energy sciences back from Egyptian days. An Egyptian architect that I got the privilege of kind of learning from kind of basically explained that the Earth is like electromagnetic, biology, and it's got a natural energy grid. And there's places in the world where there's water running under the earth, and sometimes they interact. They interact underground, and they create these really powerful natural energy vortexes through this through the earth. And it just so happens that a lot of the ancient monolithic structures that we're continue to find more were built right on top of these areas of the earth. Not only that, the buildings were constructed perfectly geometrically with natural stones that were geometrically resonated with not only the stars and the planets, but the earth itself, that took this natural vortex of energy and pushed it out to the local environment. So
is that where biotech came from? Am I right? Because that sounds like a lifeboat almost.
Exactly. So yeah, basically the main concept is like, how can I help take this concept of living design frameworks, regenerative design, living systems design, and bring this what they call life force into our built environments, into the humans. So I spent a lot of time on etymology.com, the nature of words.
Sure.
Again, nerded out on that. So yeah, lots of, so basically I was trying to combine kind of, I kind of envision myself like just bringing in these like new products and services that are rooted in living design. So that bio or biotic basically means life force, is how I look at it. And then the concept of stewardship is where the ship. So it's kind of the combination of words, and that was a .com that was available for $6. So I was like, okay, let's just do that. Even though it's kind of a longer word, I was looking for something shorter, but
it's a very unique name, I think. And sounds like you work with some really great organizations. What are some examples of teams and groups that you've partnered with? I think mostly in the built environment, correct? Or are you working also with tech-based companies?
Biotech is kind of born on this journey that I'm on around documenting what I'm calling the nature tech renaissance, where we
I like that.
Why we now have discovered the really deep level of what nature is and how it works at the energy level. With the greatest in technology, which, it's kind of one and the same. Science, spirituality, in the center of them, they're all saying the same thing. My whole goal now is to document this journey of those that really understand how nature work at not only basically at a real world human level. So that's like ecologists, that's farmers, medicine men, natural healers, people who really have a gift for understanding nature and how to work with it as opposed to against it. So I joined a community, they call it Regenerative community, led by
I love Regenerations.
Darren
Doherty and his community is amazing.
Yes, and there are a lot of practitioners that really do this stuff.
Yeah,
and he's outlined an entire context-driven layer design framework that first considers the human being and the context.
Climate of the mind.
Yeah. The mind and the local environment, the bioregion.
Yeah.
Because nature is our energy source, sun, planet. That's where we get all of the energy. That's where it all starts. So if you want to make money or just have the best product or the best service, you need to tap into that. And so by understanding your local region and your mindset, that's where the most potential and the most power is. So if you can work within the guidelines of that, then you can create just superior products and services.
Awesome. So Darren sounds like working with Darren and some of his community. Biotic is working closely with them. Any local companies? I know Circlefoot has partnered with you guys, and being the founder and owner of Circlefoot, just absolutely have found so much value in your expertise, particularly around scaling enterprises. And I love the life force that you bring into our conversations and into our discussion rooms. It's palpable. And there are several other folks, I'm sure, that are, closely affiliated with Biotic. We're getting close to wrapping up here, but before we do, a few other names of companies, if you could be specific.
Yeah.
And then tell us a little bit about the future and what's going to be next for Biotic.
Sure. So through that Regenerative community, that's where I started to kind of understand the different regenerative nature-based enterprises around the world and kind of what they do. So the first one I got linked up was a company called AVE, which is a...
Can you spell that?
It's UVE.
UVE.
And they're a collection of land stewards that are practicing a whole holistic land management process based on Alan Savory's work for regenerating the planet. So they work with the land, they work with animals, and they work with stewards of the land, farmers, ranchers, and so on. So they developed some in-house technology, and they needed help basically just give it a refresh, get the bugs out, make it a little user-friendly.
I love that.
So that was one of the first projects as Biotic, just kind of being a consultant there and partnering. Since I'm from a software background, I got, I know how to do most of it without the coding. So I, got a partner that helped build our software and help them do that. And then through that, I also got to, get connected with them. So that was kind of the first project, which was awesome. And the software that we worked on was actually called Life Energy, which helped the ranchers and farmers look at their context, look at their well-being, recorded on a daily basis, how they were feeling, and how that translated to the whole, the people around it. And then I helped a local commercial aquaponics farm, Ouroboros Farm, in Menlo Park. They were selling lettuce to Michelin-rated chefs in San Francisco, and it was the best lettuce that I've ever had. You put it in the fridge and it lasts a month and it's still crisp, and different lettuces, and it's all organic, natural. It's like how food needs to be grown.
Absolutely.
And yeah, you just taste the life force. You just taste it, and it makes you happy. And so they had a lot of excess waste in that process. So I created a go-to-market strategy to convert that waste into a natural biofertilizer. So helped him with that on the business side. Yeah, and then I reached out to you and working with you. Just the built environment, landscaping, and just landscaping, land stewardship, I feel is one of the biggest ways to deploy nature-based solutions at scale. I'm still kind of finding my way in exactly how I can help, but just through the business and expertise, I've done the 0 to 1, as Peter Thiel kind of explains in his book, so many times. I've operated at 1 and beyond, but then I've been in the trenches from 0 to 1. So my whole goal with Biotic now is to empower eco-entrepreneurs, nature-based executives, those that are thinking that understand the problem and know that we need to work better with nature, sustainability, green building, make healthy, like energizing built environments, because the human body is just going to be a reflection of the environment they're in.
I love that, Kyle, so much. And watching the, your wealth and wellness journey has just been inspiring for me. Where can people learn more about Biotic for our audience? Like, can you point us to a website, or do you have a domain, or can you let everybody know where they can find you?
Yeah, you can go to bioticship.com. You could look me up on LinkedIn. And then I actually just launched a YouTube channel called The Nature Tech Renaissance, where I will be documenting this journey. I will be interviewing as many ecopreneurs, executives, business owners with this kind of values and mission in mind, and begin getting their thoughts on all this, and just learning about the growing regenerative economy and understanding that marketplace, the people, the businesses, and really learning how I can fit in with my expertise.
Awesome. Well, I think that's the first episode of the Wealth and Wellness Report. Thank you all for listening in. Kyle, it's a pleasure. I really appreciate you coming.
Thank you, Diego. And I'll leave off because, I didn't really talk about you and Circlefoot.
That's okay, because we're here to talk about you. So
okay. Well, Diego and Circlefoot are the answers to all of our problems.
Thanks, man.